Online Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Esther of IPA Group, bringing premier online promotion to your business.
And Melanie of Stomp Social Media Training, who empowers business owners to manage social media and marketing for themselves.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. It's Monday morning and we're bright, fresh and early. Well, I'm certainly bright, probably a little bit fresh, and it's still not quite that early, but it's early enough for us, isn't it, Esther?
Very early, yes.
So we've got a bit of news, don't we?
We do. Very important news coming up.
We have a sponsor and we'd like to introduce you to Feed Alpha. So let me tell you a little bit about them. They want you to get ready to be a social media superstar with Feed Alpha. Their friendly AI and super simple tools make it a breeze to see what your followers are into. That means you can post the cool stuff they love right when they're most likely to see it. So check out feedalpha.com to find out more and take your social media to the next level.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a segue from that into our special guest today. But it's all to do with social media, so it's perfect.
And it is actually a platform that can also be used on Feed Alpha as well. So let me introduce Lucy McVey. Okay, hi Lucy. You're
Hi.
a Pinterest trainer and consultant at L&B Social. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so Pinterest is one of those platforms that is probably the most underused, underutilized, underdeveloped in terms of people using it for personal use or business use, or forgotten platforms. So
Yeah.
Lucy is here to tell us exactly why we should be on it, and we will talk about the power of Pinterest.
The power of Pinterest. Yeah, I mean, Pinterest, it's seen as a social media platform, but technically it's really a visual search engine. And it's like the third biggest search engine after Google and YouTube. And anytime I tell people that I work in Pinterest, they're like, oh, never actually thought about using that. It's ideal because you can't be too salesy, you can't be spammy, and Pinterest wants people to go off the site to visit your website, which other social media platforms don't. They'd rather keep you where you are.
Yeah, basically goes against social media platform
Yeah.
rule 101
Yeah.
of stay on the platform as long as possible.
So that's interesting actually that Google comes up first, then YouTube, then Pinterest. Are you noticing people are using it more as a search engine these days, or is it still being used predominantly as a business platform for the people that you're working with?
It's definitely being used as a search platform, I would say. It's like people are going there because they're looking for something specific. They're either trying to find an answer or they're trying to find inspiration for something. So you go in there and you put what you're looking for in the search bar, and then it obviously brings everything up.
Yeah,
I think
so,
people
well,
beat me to it.
Yeah, because I had my hand up first. She didn't notice it this time. So a lot of people, like you say, go and find inspiration there. But are there sales being made through Pinterest, or is it mostly pinning for inspiration and pin it all to your boards and then figure out how to do it later?
There are lots of sales being made through Pinterest, and it's not just the big brands, because most of the searches are unbranded, so people look for something specific. Yeah, so we're not going there just to pin stuff and just look for ideas and things like that. People are looking because they want to find a certain product, and I think it's about 60% of pinners, maybe. I might be a bit wrong in that stat. About 60% of pinners go there because they want to, as part of the buyer journey, and then that will ultimately end up in them purchasing the product.
Things have changed quite a bit, haven't they, from how people first came across Pinterest. I don't do Pinterest as part of my trainings because I can't do everything. But my earliest experience of Pinterest was very different to what it's capable of today. That I do know. Because although I don't show people how to use it myself, I actually have one because I know it's a fabulous SEO tool. So, can you tell us a little bit about idea pins and also about video pins, Lucy? Because I've heard of them, but I don't know how to use them and how they're useful for people in business.
Idea pins and video pins are great if you want to show a tutorial of how to use a product, or if a product has different aspects. So you can post, like an Instagram carousel, you can post multiple pins in one for people to scroll through, or you'd have the video pin. So if you got maybe a recipe and you want to show people how to do it, then just record a video and upload it. So in the same way as Instagram Reels, you can repurpose an Instagram Reel as a video pin. So actually, it helps with repurposing your content and making your content go a lot further.
So you can actually create it in Reels, download it onto your phone, then upload it as a video pin on Pinterest. Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect.
And is there a time limit or ideal time of a video length?
I think it might be, just trying to remember the exact time, but I think it might be roughly a minute.
Okay.
But
Okay.
And just like Reels, they stay there forever, do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, well, that's one of the things that I've noticed about Pinterest. So I am an avid pinner. I will go to Pinterest and pin all the inspiration. Oh yeah, I have my whole house redesigned on Pinterest.
So do I.
Yeah, right. And I had my wedding designed on it, and I had, the kids' bedrooms designed. I've been on Pinterest since it was invitation only. That's how long I've been on Pinterest.
I didn't know that was ever a time.
Yeah, that's the very, very start. See? Maybe I should have developed my knowledge of it more.
Yeah.
But are there businesses that work better on Pinterest than other businesses? Or is it any type of business can be on Pinterest, do well on Pinterest? What have you noticed with trends and stuff, that what works and what doesn't?
Well, I think any type of business, I mean, if you've got a website and a product or a service, any type of business can work well on Pinterest. I mean, you go there and you think it's all about recipes and DIY and stuff, but I've done searches for health and safety, for financial advice, and it's all there. So as long as people are looking for it, then it's going to do well on there. And if you've got regular blogs, podcasts, and videos and stuff, you can do well on there.
I can see Melanie's
her brain ticking along.
Yeah, I can see her going, oh, that's where we need to hold off, Melanie, hold off. So you were saying there, Lucy, having a website is like mandatory for you to pin stuff. Is that correct? You want people to go back to your website. That's the main aim.
I mean,
what if you're selling stuff on, say, Etsy or Shopify or stuff like that? Is that still?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Because you'll connect it to your Pinterest account, and then people can pull stuff from, say, your Etsy page to pin them, or then obviously you will have the link from your Pinterest page to your Etsy account.
So they'll go straight there and not to somebody else's Etsy stuff.
Okay, so we've got every other platform for MMM, but not Pinterest. We have Etsy as well.
We do. But do we need to have Pinterest?
That's the age-old question. It's like everybody thinks they have to be on...
Use the marketing term. It depends.
It depends.
It depends. Because I mean, everybody wants to flock to every platform as soon as it opens, thinking I need to be on there. But again, it's what works best for your business, and if you're doing well through other platforms, then
we're not on TikTok yet, Esther.
Do you want to be on TikTok?
And there's a reason for that, Melanie. No, I don't. No. Again, it's another platform that I consume stuff on.
Yeah, threatening my teenagers with opening up a TikTok account. They'd never speak to me again.
They might delete their TikTok. That would be fun. But in terms of so getting back to Pinterest, in terms of like value for money. So obviously Pinterest is still a free platform, free to use. There are ads on it. You can run ads on it. Correct? Okay.
Yes.
And are those ads, do you find that compared to, say, Google ads or Bing ads, just search engine ads, would they have the same sort of power, or would they be less effective than maybe other platforms?
I think Pinterest ads tend to be a bit slower, more of a slow burn. I mean, the organic side of Pinterest works really, really well anyway. But their ads there, they are cheaper to run than, say, Facebook, but just have a bit more of a slower burn.
Yeah, they need to
it.
be on for longer than Facebook. Because I have done Pinterest, because although MMM doesn't have one, like I said, my business does, and I've done ads on there just to see if it worked. And it did, annoyingly.
Why annoyingly? Okay, no,
'Cause
that's maybe
it showed me that it was an area I should have developed more, and I didn't.
okay, but that brings us back to so Pinterest has been around for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Is there any detriment to joining it now, years and years later,
Not
or
at
is
all.
it still seen as quite a new platform that isn't overly saturated?
There's definitely no detriment to joining it now, and it's, in terms of being saturated, I think people are now just discovering how powerful a tool it can be. Because I mean, when I tell people, they're so surprised, they never just don't think about using it. And
Yeah.
as long as you get the right pins, like have a decent pin image and the right keywords, then you can do really well on it.
Okay, so give us some help there with our decent pinned image. What do you
Decent pinned
like?
image. So
Is
with a
there-
pin, you'd
Yeah.
want to keep it in your brand colors. Keep it as on brand as possible with your logo. Always have a call to action, like read now, watch this or listen to this podcast. Have your website on there as well, so have as much detail focusing back to you as possible.
Even though the link would click through to the website,
yes,
have the website. Oh, okay.
yeah. And you can, even if you don't have a product-based business, you can find like just stock photos can help you create a visually striking image.
Yeah, as long as they're copyright free, of course.
Yeah,
Stock
of course.
photos. So one thing I had an issue with initially, which has now been resolved, was adding the RSS feed to Pinterest, so that any new blogs or anything I put up, is that something you help people with as well?
It's something I can help people with.
Because it can be a bit fiddly, can't it?
Mm-hmm.
Who is your
Yes.
ideal customer? Who do you normally deal with in Pinterest? Because obviously in my head I think of food and crafts, and obviously people like Esther who decorate their home. Is it used for stuff beyond that much?
Yeah, I mean, the clients that I've worked with somebody who designed and made jewelry, somebody who made wedding cakes and had online baking classes, so she had a lot of
didn't think of
recipes to go out. But I also worked with an IT media company.
Wow.
Yeah. So you wouldn't
Didn't
think their
expect
keywords were a bit more niche, but it worked in their favor, because the more niche the keywords, the less competition there is in terms of pins appearing.
And how often would you have to pin to make it an effective strategy?
Again, there's no one size fits all, because I mean, if you're a small business, you might not have time to do it. So time to do it that regularly. So, I mean, with scheduling tools, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. But a small business might not be pushing out quite so much content. So it may be 1 pin a day, but then you can go up to 10 pins a day. And
So I was
that's
going to
like
ask,
every
is it
day of
as
the week.
hungry as Twitter, or as hungry as Instagram, or as hungry as Facebook, or as hungry as LinkedIn? Because in my head, X, Twitter, is still the hungriest of all the platforms. You need to feed that constantly, followed by Instagram, which then has 3 different ways, which Pinterest does now. It has 3 different ways to post, doesn't it? And so in my head, you only need to feed Facebook 3 to 5 times a week, as long as you put it up at the right time. So would you say it's more like Instagram in that you need to feed it that often, but not as often as X?
They recommend to be consistent with at least 1 pin a day. So that's over, like, you can actually, this is one of my favorite points about Pinterest is that you can post to the same piece of content every single day for a week, as long as you have a slightly different pin. So changing the pin image, changing the wording slightly will make it a different pin. Pinterest will see it as fresh, but it can be leading to the same piece of content.
That's good, because that was going to be my question. Like, what if you don't have a lot of content to be able to pin something every day or 10 times a day? But if you can pin the same, so say it's a blog, if you have 5 or 6 different images for that same blog and you're just highlighting different sections of the blog, would that then works as...
That will work. So you can get one blog, create 7 pins, and then have them go out every day for a week.
Now, there are some boards that I join as a collaboration with others, so other digital marketers or other content creators or something like that. How do those work? How are they useful for other people to work from? Or is it really only useful for the people that are collaborating within that? So is it open to the public, or are they just kept private, those sort of collaborations?
They'd only be private if they were set as private.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you're just kind of pinning to each other. I'm going to have to rethink this.
Yeah, because, well, the way I always thought of boards was, it was sort of that board was like your vision board or your design board, and only you could see it. That's the way I always heard of boards.
So I have I actually have 2 Pinterest accounts. One is my personal one, which is full of DIY and recipes. And then when I started providing it as a service, I set up my own business one, which is just my pins, really. But then I was doing a photo shoot. We were collaborating together on ideas for the photo shoot. So I was invited as a collaborator, but we kept the board private so nobody else could see it. Because the idea is that you only want to show people your pins. You don't want to, you can repin other stuff as much as you want, but I'd say better to keep that stuff private. So you're not encouraging people to go to someone else's website.
That's true.
But inside your business board or your business, Pinterest, can you have separate boards to say split off? Let's say we're talking jewelry. You've got rings in one board, necklaces in another, and can those be open? But people won't really necessarily see the board, but they'll see in their feed, they'll see your pin.
Yeah, they'll see it all in the feed once when you can be pinning it. Obviously, the most recent will come up first.
It's quite a niche product at the end of the day, and because it's not so well known, I do think that people need to be educated better. It's like masterclasses or downloads or books or something like that. So as an offering for L&B Social, what do you do to educate your customers about Pinterest?
I have a couple of free downloads.
Cool.
Yeah, there's one which is basically how to create the perfect pin, telling you where to put your keywords and what kind of how you should design the actual pin. And I have a Pinterest checklist as well. So just a checklist, make sure you've done this, and this before you start pinning.
And these are available on your website, or?
They're available on my website and through my Instagram profile.
Cool. And I assume on your email list.
Yes. My email list I certainly need to get better at.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Don't we all? Yeah. So, Lucy, how do people learn about your business, and how do we find out more about you?
You can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, although that's becoming less about work and more about just the fun stuff these days. LinkedIn and Facebook. So I'm in the usual places.
And your website is lmvsocial.co.uk?
Yes.
Lima Mike Victor.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I would have given those totally different names. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us today, Lucy. It has been an absolute pleasure. And we really need to learn more about Pinterest. So we will be going and getting your downloads, and we hope that our audience will as well.
Lovely.
And we'll share it as well.
Guys.
We'll share it in our show notes as well, the links.
We will. Yeah. So that's it for today, guys. We're back next week with another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much for having me.